Welcome to Men of God. Today, we're diving into the story of Dwight L. Moody, a man who defied every single expectation and whose influence, believe it or not, is still shaping our world more than 100 years after his death. His story is absolutely central to 19th century America. And it all really comes down to this one huge, fascinating question. How on earth did a guy with barely a fifth-grade education go on to build institutions and media platforms that would eventually reach hundreds of millions of people? It's a paradox, right? And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. How this unique mix of faith, genuine empathy, and honestly, organizational genius led to an impact that's still felt today. Now, to really get Moody, you have to see him as way more than just a preacher. The guy was a revolutionary innovator, a publisher, an organizer. He's called the creator of modern mass revivalism for a reason. He didn't just have a message, he literally engineered a whole new system to deliver it. His methods were so new, so different, they basically wrote the playbook for mass evangelism. He really did set the stage for huge 20th century figures like Billy Graham. And to figure out where that revolutionary drive came from, well, we've got to go back to his beginning. You see, Moody's life was shaped by two totally different kinds of education. His formal schooling, pretty much non-existent. He grew up in extreme poverty, and most people just saw him as rough around the edges. But his real education, that came from the school of hard knocks. It gave him this deep, authentic empathy, taught him practical skills as a shoe salesman, and blessed him with this common touch that let him connect with just about anyone. And in the end, that lack of fancy schooling wasn't a liability at all. It turned out to be his greatest superpower. He spoke in a way everyone could get. He just cut through all the complicated stuff and spoke straight from the heart. That accessibility was absolutely the key. But to reach millions, he needed more than just the right words. He needed a system, a revolutionary system that he built from the ground up. And this is where we see Moody's real genius shine. It wasn't just in what he said, but in the incredibly sophisticated, almost corporate system he built to get it out there. He came up with this repeatable four-step formula. First, he didn't just have music. He had a star singer, Ira Sankey, who was a huge draw. Second, he took evangelism out of the tents and into the big cities, renting massive central auditoriums. Third, he organized systematic door-to-door canvassing. And finally, and this was huge, he created the inquiry room, a dedicated space for personal counseling right after the main event. This whole thing, this highly organized, professional, and scalable campaign was a complete game changer for religious outreach. And the results? They were just mind-blowing. It's estimated that Dwight L. Moody preached in person to over 100 million people. A number that was just completely unimaginable back then. But here's the thing about Moody. He wasn't just thinking about filling seats for one night. Not at all. He was aiming to build a lasting infrastructure for education and training that would live on long after he was gone. He founded schools for kids from lower-income families like Northfield and Mount Hermon. He created the Moody Bible Institute for practical ministry training. But honestly, his most forward-thinking moves were in media. He built an entire communication ecosystem. He started Moody Publishers to get affordable books into the hands of everyday people. Moody Radio became a pioneer in non-commercial Christian broadcasting. And get this, in 1901, he set up a correspondence school, basically Moody Online, creating a model for distance learning. I mean, think about that. He was executing a multi-platform media strategy a full 100 years before we even had a name for it. The man's foresight was just off the charts. He understood that to make an idea truly last, you had to build a whole world around it. So what was his secret sauce? What's the real answer to that big question we asked at the beginning? Well, it all started with his deep personal conviction, and this famous quote just captures it perfectly. For him, this wasn't a job. It was a total all-in commitment. And that incredible ambition and dedication is what fueled his constant drive to innovate. So the bottom line is that his success really boils down to this four-part formula. It started with that deep empathy, born from his own tough upbringing. Then he used that understanding to create practical, scalable systems.
He was media savvy, using every bit of technology he could get his hands on. And maybe most importantly, he had the vision to build institutions that were designed to outlast him. That combination of heart, systems, media, and legacy, that's the answer. That is how a man with a fifth-grade education built an empire. And it leaves us with a really powerful thought for our own time.
You know, in our modern age of just endless content, where ideas pop up and then vanish in a blink, Moody's story is such a great reminder. For a message to really, truly endure, it needs more than passion. It needs a system to carry it forward. Thanks for joining us.